Good evening, everyone, here from New Delhi, India. This is Yukti Kapoor Mendirata, your leadership coach. Thank you so much for joining yet another episode of Leadership Satsang. Leadership Satsang में आपका स्वागत है. इस प्लेटफॉर्म को क्यूरेट करने का सिर्फ एक ही इंटेंशन है, एंड दैट इंटेंशन is for us to understand how we can go deeper within ourselves and improve ourselves as a leader. Because when we work upon our leadership abilities, we automatically become a much better person as well. It starts impacting every other relationship that you have in life, whether personal or professional. And that's the beauty of working on leadership development. So thank you so much for joining in here with me for Leadership Satsang, where we create and be a part of a good company, a company of lifelong learners and leaders like you all. Let me hear from you all, everyone who's joined me live right now. Which part of the world are you in as we speak? Let's have that in the comments, please. Would love to welcome you all and know which part of the world are you in right now. So let's have that going in as I set the stage for our discussion today. There are a lot of things that we go through in life, especially when we take upon ourselves the responsibility of being a leader. And I say that because you don't have to necessarily work on your leadership abilities. There are a lot of people out there who've been able to manage a relatively successful career without consciously working on their leadership abilities. Does that make us feel like it's not important to learn leadership because you see so many people who are not great leaders, but they appear to be successful? Well, to that, my only confession is that in my own proximity, when I see such people, I know that their threshold is down the corner, and it's always the case. What that means is that if you are at a certain level in your life, enjoying some level of success in your life, without working consciously on your leadership abilities, imagine what you can contribute and how much you can contribute if you start consciously learning and changing and improving a few things about yourself as a leader. So before we go deeper into why this topic today and what is it that we can do about letting go, let me welcome Amit from Mumbai. Good to see you, Amit. Bharat, Hiren, Sachin, so good to see you here from Delhi. I'm here in Delhi as well, not for too long, but yes, that's what I am, and enjoying the weather. It is just so beautiful. It was really good today. Very, very nice weather here. I hope it's nice at your end as well. Pandurangan, good to have you here from Nagpur. Welcome, very, very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you everyone for joining me live. I want to keep this as an interactive session, so it's always nice to have people joining in live so we can have that little bit of interaction. As I was saying a while back, when you're working upon your leadership abilities, you become a better person. And it also works the other way around. When you work upon yourself as a person, it helps you to be a better leader as well. How to let go is a question that has crossed your mind many a times, I'm sure. And it's not an easy question. So we find our own ways to deal with things that we don't like because we know that we have to move on, right? So letting go comes in when you get stuck with something. Let me give you an example, right? Somebody said something to you very harshly or insulted you. You feel bad, you create a grudge in your heart. Sometimes you're able to express, sometimes you're not able to express, and you hold that back. And sometimes you hold that for way too long. And somewhere in your mind and in your heart, you decide not to give this person or this relationship a chance. Why? Because you want to protect yourself. Protect yourself from that hurt which was caused by this person, maybe a day back, a month back, a year back, a decade back, and sometimes longer than that. Now, while that happens to us, the person who's been the source or the cause of that hurt probably doesn't even remember so much of it and has moved on in his or her life. The person who was stuck is you. I know you've read and heard a lot about forgiveness and why it is important to forgive, but let me tell you, anything that you've read from a credible source is only encouraging you to unstuck yourself. And if you do that, you will do yourself a huge favor, because you don't deserve to be held back by that someone or something which happened to you so long back, but you still cannot let it go. You are not able to move on. Let me tell you, just by saying that I have moved on might not be the complete truth. So I'm just putting out one quick test that you can run in a particular situation where you felt some level of pain, and you think that, well, you know what, I've moved on, it happened when it happened, and I'm not there anymore. But I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to have any discussion around that thing, that person, that episode. The test is for you to really go back to that part of your life and see, if you were to relive that moment, does it still hurt you that bad? Because if it does, then you're only covering a wound. You haven't yet healed it. The way it works for us mentally and emotionally is not different from how it works for us at a physical level. What does that mean? Say you get hurt and you get this cut on your hand, right? Now you've got a very deep cut. It looks really deep. You're bleeding profusely. What would you do? You will rush for some first aid. Is that right? You would rush for a first aid. You're going to put some Dettol or something to just kind of make sure that that bleeding stops somehow. And maybe you will let it be for a while, or observe how this turns out to be, and maybe you will then apply some ointment. If that doesn't give you enough relief, you will maybe visit a doctor and get this fixed. You're not just going to take a piece of cloth and cover your hand and assume that it's done. It does not exist anymore. The pain is over. Why? Because I can't see it anymore. I've just covered it with a piece of cloth. And if that piece of cloth is thin, I'll use a thicker one and I'll keep it covered. And I'll pretend like it's healed without really doing anything about it, without really taking an action to heal it. That's what we do when we are hurt physically. Why don't we do that when we are hurt mentally or emotionally? We need to heal ourselves, even if it's an emotional hurt, even if it is something that I cannot see, but I can feel it. And I'm feeling that hurt. Instead of healing, what do? We're in this rush to just move on, move on. I'm so strong, I'm very strong, Yukti. I can easily move on. I don't get stuck with what people say. Well, if it's true, then revisiting it will not hurt you. If it is true, then you're not holding any grudges against that person. Because if you are, then it's not healed, not yet. And that's when it becomes important for us to understand how to let go. Because there's no point listening to this session right now if you are in a state of denial. And the denial is there is nothing to let go. I'm somebody who lives in the present moment. I'm somebody who moves on. I'm somebody who's strong. I am this and I am that. And all these I am statements that become our identity statements are the ones that will push us into this space of denial. Hua hi nahi. Aisa hua hi nahi. This just never happened. Right? I'm okay with that. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to think about it. Why? Because I move on. That's not moving on. What is the damage that it has caused you? I'm going to show that to you on the screen. Listen to this. We all operate at different energy levels. Not only we as individuals are at different energy level, the same individual is also at different energy levels at different points of time, in different days, in different moments. Right? So you are at a different energy level right now. Your energy level was somewhere else in the morning. Forget about morning. An hour back, you were somewhere else. The level at which your energy is where you will attract similar situations and people. So like attracts like here. Unlike what we understand about magnets, right? So in a magnetic field, unlike poles attract. In an energy field, we attract what we think about. Wherever your attention goes is where your energy flows. Make sense? If it makes sense, let's have make sense in the comments box right now. If this is making sense to you so far, am I reaching out to you? Is something opening up for you? Do you find yourself in some place or space of denial where you have pretty much pushed yourself to move on, but you haven't really truly done that? Not as yet. And maybe that is the reason why you were curious to attend this session, to know, okay, I want to understand how to move on. There is a reason why you're here, guys. And I want to congratulate you for not running into paralysis of analysis and thinking, hey, why do I need this session? I have actually moved on. Then why should I attend something like this? There is a reason why you're here. And if that reason is related to letting go, which I'm assuming is the case, then there is something that you need to let go. You're not the only one who needs to do that. Even those who've not yet figured out what they need to let go have a long list of things that they must let go. It's just that they are probably still in that space of denial, and they want to believe that they've moved on when they haven't really. They're covering their wound with a piece of cloth, assuming that it is healed. And that's not how healing happens. For healing to happen, we need to first accept that there is some level of pain. Now, let me show you a very, very interesting chart, and look at this very carefully. And this in itself could be a breakthrough moment for you. So please pay attention as I take you through different energy levels at which we operate. Now, this is a scale of some emotions with different energies. Right now, depending upon how you feel, you are at that particular energy level because of that feeling. The feeling of lust is at the lowest level of energy. And then is pain, feeling like a victim, feeling like you're suffering, shame, guilt, fear, anger, wanting to control, the need for power. All of this is a low energy level space. When you are in a low energy level, you will attract situations which will be at that energy level for you. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Right? So, to be able to attract goodness, to be able to attract something nice that must happen to you, you need to be at a higher energy level. To be creative, you need to be at a higher energy level. To be able to contribute, higher energy level. What gets you to a higher energy level? Feelings like gratitude, appreciation, joy, love, sense of freedom, and absolute bliss is what helps you to stay at a higher energy level. So let me show you this chart, and I would like you to keep it in mind if you can, and identify when you are at these lower energy levels to see what you can do to bring yourself up to a higher energy level. All right, so let's look at this. When we are not able to let go, what happens? Something has happened, I haven't felt good about it, and I'm not able to let it go. Maybe I failed in a very important exam. I'm not able to let go of about that failure. I can't accept that I failed. I feel like I'm not ready, or I'm not good enough for anything good to happen to me. All of these feelings attached to not being able to let go or holding grudges will keep you at a lower energy level. Why? Because it causes pain. You feel like a victim. You are in a state of suffering. There is an element of shame. There is an element of guilt or fear or anger. And look where you are with all those feelings. At the lowest level of energy. If we want anything good to happen to us, this is where we need to be. The elevated emotions, the higher frequency to attract greater energy and greater good, which is what? Bliss, freedom, love, joy, appreciation, gratitude. And that's how important it is for us to break out of that denial and say, all right, I know that I need to let go. Until such time I learn how to do that, my energies are stuck. Where? Stuck in pain, in suffering, in being a victim, in jealousy, in fear, in anger. That's when my energy is stuck. Till such time you unstuck this, you are not equipped enough to create anything meaningful. Even though you have the intention to do it, you have the intellect to do it, but you don't have the capacity to do it because you're drained, you're exhausted. So, would you like to know how to truly let go? Give me a BIO, bring it on in the chat box. If you're really, really ready to learn how to let go in the real sense. And you're going to do this with me. As much as, it's a very short session, let's convert this into a workshop and do this with me right now in this moment. If you're ready, say BIO, bring it on. Let's have that in the chat box. Good to have you here, Shagufta, Shweta. Are you guys ready? Ravindra, are you ready? Poonam, you ready? Sadhguru, are you ready? Ready, Sachin? Would you like me to bring it on? Let's have BIO in the chat box, and that's when I will know that you're ready to know exactly how to let go. And you need to do this with me, Harish. Malar, you got to do this with me, okay? So be ready. I'm going to encourage you to go back into some parts of your life which are probably still a little painful, some relationships which we cannot ignore, we can't avoid, we have to live with these people, but there are grudges and there is a lot we need to let go. It could be letting go of some failure, like I said, from the past, and we've not been able to forgive ourselves for that particular failure, and we need to let that go. Let's do that right away. Let's bring it on. Super. All right. Let me first share with you a few reasons why we are not able to let go. Okay. And you will find your reason somewhere here, because most of us are stuck with one of these three reasons, right? Either we get stuck in the future thinking, which says what? If this person says sorry, then I will forgive. If this happens, then I'll be okay. If I don't have to look at this person's face ever again, then it's fine. If I fail this exam, but I still get a good job, which is a higher salary or the same, at least, compared to another someone, then it's okay. If this happens, then I will do that, which will allow me to forgive. And finally, I will move on. And that's why I'm not ready to let go today. I'm not ready to move on today. Why? Because something has to happen in the future for me to be able to do that. Or we get stuck in the past. It should have been like this. It should have been like that. I should have studied more. I should have voiced out my concerns. I should have snapped that person. I should have been able to stand up for my self-respect. I should have done this. I should have done that. I didn't do it, and I'm not able to let go. Or it is definitive thinking. If it's not future thinking or past thinking, it is definitive thinking, which is what? I can never forgive this person for what has happened, what this person has done to me. I can never become successful because I did not crack that particular exam. This can never happen because that has happened. That's something which I'm not ready to let go. This is where we get stuck with our ability to move on. So what do we need to do? I need you to go through these 3 steps. Step number 1, identify what to let go. This is not a very straightforward step. What does that mean? Identify what is it that you really need to let go. Take a moment and think about it. What do you need to let go? If your answers are fear, I need to let go of fear, I need to let go of anger, I want you to become more and more specific. Get specific with that, and let's have some sharing in the comment box. Come on, tell me, guys. What have you identified as something that you need to let go? Because if you don't get this step right, there is no point in going through the next 2 steps. Identify what you need to let go. Let's have it in the chat box. And your sharing might just open up something for someone else, guys. Please remember, if you have the heart or intent to share, it is as simple as putting out what you think, what your views are, and that in itself is a way to serve. And as leaders, we should always practice being servant leaders, right? Our ability to serve others with our leadership skills. How do you do that? By sharing. So never stop yourself from sharing. Okay, so you need to let go of a person, Hiren. Think about a particular situation you need to let go of with this person. One situation, one showdown that happened with this person, that one particular episode. Let go of fear, Sunita. Get specific about what is that fear attached to. And what was that one episode when you experienced this fear? Let's try to let go of that episode. We will take one baby step at a time. Malar, if it is hurt, who caused that hurt? And what was that particular episode? One situation, specific situation, is what I need you to note down in front of you right now on a loose piece of paper, because we don't need to retain this. We need to shred it off and throw it away. But let's do this exercise for the next 10 minutes. Be specific about what are you trying to let go. Failures or disappointments, very generic, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. This particular step needs to get down at an event level, at an episode level, at an experience level, not anything generic. Letting go of my insecurity. Okay, insecurity for what? What kind of insecurity? Appraisal discussions with boss. Okay, one particular discussion, maybe the recent most discussion, is what you need to keep in mind, Harish, right? That, okay, my last appraisal discussion with my boss was something that did not go well with me, and I need to let go of this part of that discussion. I'm sure you're getting my point now. Grudge against ex-boss when he downrated me for 3 consecutive years for no fault of mine. Okay, now here also we're looking at 3 years. I want you to bring your attention to one specific discussion, one only, right? Get to that level of being specific, and then I'll open up the next step for you. What exactly are you trying to let go? Fear of not being enough at a job. What made you feel that way, Sunita? What is that one episode which made you feel that you're not good enough at your job? What made you experience that fear? Just take any one such event. You got it? If you've got it, just say got it in the comments box, please. You've got it? Got it, guys. This is fun. Let's have some fun with this. I know there is some bit of hurt attached to this, but you know what? Life is not so serious as we make of it. It really isn't. We should be able to laugh at it. And while we are laughing, we'll figure out a way to deal with it as well together. So you've got me by your side, and you've got your open mindedness to absorb new learnings, to accept new learnings. That's all it takes. One coach and one open mind. That's all, right? So we've got what it takes. You've got it? Got it? All right. Super. Now let's look at the second step. Now that you've identified what exactly you need to let go of, is when I need you to look at the second step, and that is to understand and explain to yourself, how does it serve me? How is it serving you to not let go of this particular event? This one event that is stuck in my being, that I probably wake up with sometimes, that stays on my mind throughout the day, or pretty much that comes to me as the first thing when I see this person or I even hear his or her name. How is it serving me to get stuck with this grudge, with this pain, with this fear? Is it because I want to remind myself that this person is a terrible person and this person doesn't require or deserve forgiveness? So I need to keep reminding myself. And so I keep that grudge active and live, and I keep fanning it. I keep giving it more and more energy, more and more life. Why? How is it serving me? Is a question that I need you to ask yourself. And please tell me, the grudge that you're holding, the event that's on your mind, how is it serving you to not let go of that event? You know that it's serving you. It is serving some purpose. What is that purpose it's serving? What do you think? Why are you not letting it go? How is it helping you to hold this back? There is a reason. What is that reason? What is your reason to not let go? Let's have that in the comments box. Think about it, guys. You have this event right in front of you. You have this appraisal discussion that happened recently, and something about that discussion has made you feel bad, and you're holding a grudge, and you are keeping that grudge so live as if it just happened to you. It feels so bad as if it is still happening, or you just got out of that moment while that moment probably passed by long back. But I keep it active and alive. Why? It's probably enlightening the fire to keep going and remembering the cost that I had paid to get where I want to go. spark in life or hope. No, no. Not letting go of a bad and painful experience is keeping you in the state of pain. What do we need to do is to look at what is there to learn, and I draw that learning and I let go of the event. I am not dropping the learning. Okay, the learning is that out of my respect for elders, I do not talk back to people, right? Or because of my respect for somebody who knows better than me or is senior to me, I don't stand up or put my views across, and then I'm misunderstood or I'm treated like a doormat or whatever feelings that I get when I'm amidst such people. What is the learning? The learning is I will not let go of my self-respect at any cost. And I did that by not standing up for myself, or I did that by getting dramatic in a situation, or I did that by over justifying myself, or whatever I did in that event that I regret, and the event that I'm not letting go of. I need to understand, how is it serving me? Is the learning important? Let me take the learning out. Can I let go of the event while I keep the learning with me? The answer is yes, you can do that. So what is the third step? Once you've understood how it's serving you, if at all it is serving you, what is it that I want to remember? I want to remember that this person should not get another such chance to walk over me. All right, that is a learning. And once you have that learning out, is when you need to look at this question: how do you want it to be instead? What is the learning? When somebody senior to me talks to me rudely, I do not talk back because I freeze. I feel that it might impact my career, right? What do I want to do instead? I want to be able to talk for myself. I want to share my views. I want to stand up for my respect. I want to speak for my good work. I want to be better prepared so that people don't, push me away or pull me down in that one appraisal discussion. Maybe I can be better prepared for this, right? Maybe I can have my facts ready. Maybe I can consciously work on this important relationship till it's important for me. And for that, these are the few things that I need to do. So how is it serving me? What is the learning? And how do I want it to be instead? Once I'm clear about that, then that becomes my action plan. The action plan is to help me remember the learning from a painful episode. The action plan is not to keep the pain alive, because when I keep that pain alive and active, the only person who suffers is me, not the one who's caused that suffering. And when you allow yourself to suffer, you're in a victim mode. And I've already shown you at what energy level are you when you behave or think like a victim. As a leader, we need to go way beyond that. And the way to do that is to go through these 3 steps. Identify what you need to let go. See how is it serving you. And answer and ask yourself, how do I want it to be instead? Remember, you are not what happens to you. You are what you choose to become. I'm going to say this again. You are not what happens to you. No matter whoever is causing that happening, you are way more than that. You are who you choose to become. So my question is, what do you choose to become? If you choose to become a leader, then you can't be a victim. If you choose to move on, then you cannot be stuck in the past. If you choose to create, then you cannot destroy your own energies with this pain and this suffering and this decision you made silently to not let go. Letting go is the biggest gift that you can give to yourself, because you add so much more time, so much more quality to your life from the moment when you decide to truly let go. I want to know, what is it that's opening up for you before I conclude today's session. And I also want to share with you a prayer. And this is a prayer that we all sing together in our spiritual leadership course that we do once every year. We all kind of come together after every session, which happens every month, and we sing this prayer together. I want to offer this to you. Even if you've heard this before, I want you to look at it like you've never seen this before and bring it down into your life and add it to your morning ritual, whatever that may be, when you hold your hands together in front of somebody greater than yourself and surrender, right? When you're praying, bring this prayer into your life. But let me see, what is it that's opening up for you right now? You're not what happens to you. You are who you choose to become. Very powerful quote. Thank you. Thank you for taking that up. And I would go as far as to say, make it visible for you to look at this quote as often as possible. Create a visual of it. Like maybe make a screensaver out of it, or a wallpaper, or put it out on a whiteboard wherever you sit, wherever you work, or at home, wherever possible. Create a visual so that you remember that when we get stuck with something, it is only we who are stuck there, nobody else. You're alone, and that's not where you deserve to be. You're meant to do a lot more, and for that you need to do a little bit of work, a little bit of cleaning up. And this is one very big step towards that cleanup. So here is what I need you to bring into your prayers. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. This is called a serenity prayer. And I wish and pray that you bring in that courage, and you bring in that serenity, and you bring in that ability to go beyond just the knowledge and convert this knowledge into wisdom by bringing it down into an action and creating an action plan for yourself. I hope this was a useful session, and I hope this helps you to truly move on and let go, because once you do is when you build in the capacity to create magic, because you have everything it takes to do that. God bless you all. Thank you so much. I will see you again next Tuesday with another very important intervention we need to invite in our life to become better people, better leaders. Please keep your questions flowing in. Write to us at yukti@sbbyacademy.com, or on Insta, my handle is Yukti Talks. On LinkedIn, it is Yukti Kapoor Mehndiratta. Let's stay connected. Let's keep learning. I'm listening to your questions carefully, and I'm hoping that these messages through Leadership Satsang are reaching out to you and helping you in some way, somehow. Thank you so much. God bless you all. I'll see you soon.